Okay, so back in 2022, my house would have burnt. Yes, I was working at the point in time, but it was basically I lost everything, and I had to make it with 3 kids and myself. A few days before my son's birthday in June of 2022 was when the tragedy would have happened of my house burning completely, where I would have lost everything. I had nothing left beside what my kids and I had on our backs. And it was just like, it wasn't really a time that I like to really talk about too much. It was like the worst thing I think I would ever have to go through. But the hardest question I think I would have had to answer at that point in time was when my then 6-year-old daughter would have turned to me and say, well, Mommy, where are we going to live now? So it was like, all I could tell her at that point in time basically was just, everything is going to be okay. Because I didn't know how to explain or what to even explain to her, because I know she's young and she's not understanding everything that's going on around her. So it was like, basically, what is the best thing I could tell my daughter at that point in time to comfort her? Which was the only thing that came to mind would have been, it's gonna be okay, So it was just, and then we spent the night. They would have spent the night by a neighbor, and I would have stayed out just watching to see, how the fire was going on, because it had a lot of explosive stuff, I would like to say, like the gas tank and, the generator and all these things that I would have bought. Because I didn't have my own electricity, so I bought a generator, so all that carries fuel and all these things. And I have a neighbor not living far from me with a disabled husband, so I would have, was studying how it's going to affect them as well. So my best thing was to get my kids out and then think of anybody else afterwards. I mean, people might say it sounds selfish, but to me it was me being me and trying to think of my kids and what is best for them at that point in time to get them out of it, because seeing it was causing them a lot of hurt, knowing what it is. That is home, that is their comfort zone, that's their safe space. So now that it is gone, where we going now? No, I never did, because knowing that everybody around already knew what it is was going on, because the community I live in not all that big, so everybody knew everybody, so it wasn't something that was something that I wanted more people knowing, because it was so much judgment at the point in time, and basically every day on my way to work I would have to do basically a walk of shame, because people know what happened, and they would just look at me, they're speaking of you, so it was just basically like a walk of shame. But I still had to show my kids through it all. I had to walk with my head held high and go out there and make this way for them, because what happened, it is not their fault, it's nothing to do with them basically. So I now had to be the person to show them, well, hey, no matter what it is, you could, come out on top and try your best to do what you could to get yourself out of certain things. Well, I would have been seeing her on Facebook over the years, and with everything that happened, people would have started to come to me, knowing what had happened with the fire. They came to me and they were like, hey, well, we know about this organization, we're not sure about it, but you could go, this is the number for it, so reach out and see, they might be able to, if they can't help you themselves, they might point you, in the right direction. And honestly, to me, that was like the best thing I could do, because reaching out to Miss Avi, hearing her on the phone and telling her what it is I went through, it was like she was basically there without being there then. You're hearing that she actually cared and she was actually listening. Because I had other occasions where I would have reached out to people and knowing the people and them basically how their movement and what it is they asking, you would realize that, hey, they just want to know your business, you know. But Miss Avi was actually a person that was listening. She was hearing me. And then she was like, okay, well, this happened. Let me make some calls. And, you know, I would call her at certain points and say, well, Miss Avi, somebody tell me about this, and I don't really know what to do. She would say, well, okay, let me make some calls and I'll get back to you. And sure enough, before the day is out, or by the very next morning, she would be like, hey, or I will wake up to a voice note saying, hey, well, I found out about what you was asking about, and, you know, this is what you need. You know, she would say, well, okay, if you need three of this document, 2 of this, so 1 of this, whatever, she would let me know everything I need to work with. Because she know financially I was kind of struggling as well. So she knew that, okay, I'm going to tell her everything she needs to work with to go to this place. So the one time she goes would be the one time enough where she goes with everything, and she not having to go there and then come back and go home, get something else and come back, and, you know. So she make sure I knew everything that I needed before going to it. For me, ITNAC stands out, and Miss Avi stands out because of how she listens. You know, she actually shows that she cares. She is a listening ear. She actually shows that she cares, and she listens, and she tries her best to go out of her way to help you with the issue that you're having, you know. And she going to say, well, okay, here what, this is what you're going through, you went through this, and she checks up. It's not like, okay, we help you and that's the end of it. She continuously help me by calling and saying, well, okay, how you doing, how the kids, you know, because sometimes all you need, you don't really need anything all the time. You just need somebody basically to listen and to say, well, okay, well, I have